Hope you're feeling fine. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you're feeling blessed. Hope you realize that you are blessed because you're seeing a day that nobody else got to see. Excuse me. My name is Vaughn, and this is an episode of Have You Seen This Shit? Where I just want to go through the day's news stories, happenings, just interesting tidbits. Uh, just a daily show to where we're going to go and dive into what's going on in the media, what's going on in the news, what's going on in the world, and talk about it. That's it. Before I get started, I want to give a big shout out and recognize Malcolm X today. Well, excuse me, yesterday, May 19th, would have been Malcolm X's 100th birthday. We miss you, OG. We miss you. We miss the presence that Malcolm X was, because we don't have real true leadership in America, in the black community in America anymore. Um, we don't see it anymore like we used to in times of Malcolm and Martin. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of individualism take over in the black community, and that individualism is just messing us up. But before we dive into that, let's get into the news story. Let's talk about some things that we've seen happen over the weekend. Now, over the weekend, we've seen that Moody's credit rating downgraded United States of America credit rating agency, credit rating, excuse me. Now, to the average person, they don't know what this means, but to people that are learned or understand what globalism is and the impact of global trade on the United States of America, realize that us having a downgraded credit rating is bad. It's a bad thing, because when we do business with other countries, now the other countries are going to have the standpoint that, hey, Moodys say y'all ain't that credit worthy of paying y'all debts back. Now, does this have something to do with who our current president is? Pretty much, yes. It has everything to do with Trump. Moody's downgraded United States of America credit rating because of Donald Trump's tariffs, because of Donald Trump's economic policy, because of Donald Trump's economic forecast for what he wants to do with the United States of America. And Moody's flat out said they're downgrading the United States credit rating because of the uncertainty with the U.S. economy. They're downgrading the U.S. credit rating because of the uncertainty that's going to be caused because of these economic policies that are in place. What that is saying is that the United States is in bad shape when it comes to economic policy, and we need to do something about it if we want to improve our credit. Now, the person that doesn't give a damn about credit and they don't got no credit down, they listen to me say this and they, oh, I'll pay cash for that. The United States can't pay cash for certain things, and when you operate in deficits as as governments naturally do, you need to have good terms. You need to be on good terms with the other countries that you're doing business with, because they're going to increase their. I stop cussing. They're going to increase their rates. Ugh. Sorry, I'm trying not to be cussing out here, because I'm trying to save all the cussing for the Patreon stuff. But I be slipping up. I be slipping up. I be slipping up. But yeah, due to Trump's tariffs and uncertain economic future, the United States credit rating is down now. In other words, the United States has bad credit because of Donald Trump and his policies. People, it's just no other way to say it. I want to understand, and I wish there was a MAGA person in the comments that would explain this to me. How is Moody's downgrading the U.S. credit rating beneficial to us? Because we see from so many MAGA pundits and Trump and anybody else on that side always trying to explain away these situations. So I'm a man of reason. I'm a man of logic. I like to think I'm a learned and educated man. So please help me to understand how these tariffs and these policies are going to help us, because even Moody's doesn't understand it, and they've downgraded our credit because of it. So maybe one of you MAGA guys or girls or whatever you identify as can let me know in the comments how this helps. I'm unsure how this helps the American economy. And I'm all for differences of opinion or trying something different and trying something new, but when our credit rating is tanked because of it, I'm not on board with it. What else we got on our agenda to talk about today? It isn't in that short time. Listen, Trump has been in office 100 days now. Yeah, 100 days. A little over 100 days. And we've seen our credit rating go down. We've seen gas prices and grocery prices go up. We've seen the wars that he said can stop, escalate. I'm hoping for this change. My opinion is that they're trying to get them to the table. The thing about negotiations is that you got to understand leverage, and getting somebody to the table is not a negotiation tactic. That's a natural part of negotiation. You're right, it's gambling, and it's a bad gamble, and we've already started to see this not play out well for the United States of America. I, I just hope that something good comes about, because I'm not seeing it on the surface, and I'm one of those people that I don't have a problem being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm an adult. I can say I'm wrong. But I don't see how all this economic policy is going to benefit the United States of America, and we've seen it already. I don't know. Speaking of presidents, I once said that my theory was that Joe Biden was only running for re-election to try and get Kamala Harris into office without having to have her go through the election process, because America was not quite ready for a black female president. I think I'm right. Think I'm right, because now we're seeing Joe Biden coming out with his, I think, pancreatic cancer. Yeah, prostate cancer. Prostate cancer. He has a very aggressive form of prostate cancer that is starting to attack different parts of his body. I I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, and I'm not one of those people that was like, "Oh, Sleepy Joe." Joe Biden is an old man. He's been in politics his entire life. He served 8 years as vice president and then turned around and served 4 years as a president. And when you go through any type of politics or political office, that stuff wears on you. There are pictures of all the presidents showing progressions of how they get older and older in that 4 years of office. It's happened to Trump. It happened to Obama. It happened to Clinton. It happened to Bush. It happened to all of them. So all that wears on them. You know, so he was already old and he was president. That that puts a lot more stress on them. Unfortunately, the plan didn't come to fruition to have Kamala, to have him get reelected and then just pass it off to Kamala. That was my thought. That was my theory. I made content on it last year, and I stand on that. And now hearing this cancer diagnosis, I think I was right. I think I was right. And we even have Jake Tapper, and I forget the other guy's name, but Jake Tapper just wrote a book where he was detailing, being told about these types of things. Like, hey, they wouldn't say that Biden had cancer or, he was sick. They were just talking ways that Jake Tapper was picking up on, like, something ain't right here, but they're not telling us what's right or wrong. So I hate to see that, he's going through this situation. I wish him and his family the best. I just wish that uh, I just wish that the plan would have worked. I'm just be honest with you. I just wish the plan would have worked. And if the plan would have worked, we would be having conversations about seeing Kamala Harris be sworn in as president right now. But now we're dealing with downgraded credit ratings because of Trump. Gotta be dog. All right. This is interesting because it speaks to the underbelly of America. America has a ugly history that it does not want to acknowledge. Yeah, you're at the world, but we're in America, right? I'm in America right now. So I'm gonna talk about America. But America has a history that it does not want to acknowledge and is trying to say that racism and bigotry and all that other stuff is dead and gone and not here in America anymore. We're seeing that every day be proven wrong. We've seen that with Hillary Clinton losing her presidential race. America was not ready for a white woman to be president. We've seen that again with Kamala Harris losing her race. America's not ready for a black woman to be president. And I stress that I say America because it's not a black or a white thing. Because when Obama was running for president, we've seen a astronomical number of black Americans getting out there and vote. It's safe to say that black people in America put Obama in the White House. And we could have done the same thing for Kamala. But there are a number of individuals, namely black men, that have a problem with seeing women in power. And that needs to change. We see a lot of other countries in the world have women presidents, women leaders, women prime ministers. America, we had opportunity to elect women on 2 different occasions, and we elected a bigot instead. Instead of a woman, white woman or black woman, America chose a bigoted white man. And black America, don't you dare say, oh, they did it because we didn't vote. When you look at the voting percentage of this last election, the black Americans voted less than 20% of the population voted. Less than 20% of the black people in America voted. Oh, when I do the Patreon episode for this, it's gonna be a lot of cussing. I'm trying not to cuss on the YouTube, but the Patreon, oh, I got something for you in words. All right, next thing I want to talk about was the TPS status of the Venezuela TPS revocation for Venezuelans in America. We've seen pre-election that there was a heavy Latin American support. There was a lot of Latin American support for. Hold on, let's see where. In your opinion, what makes it that men are going to prefer women? Well, the reason why I say black men, when I pointed out black men, when I talked about voting for Kamala, that we didn't vote. While I want to give credit for the amount of men that did vote, we seen in 2 different elections with a white woman and a black woman, neither one of them got elected. Now I talked about the bigotry and racism in America, but I didn't mention the sexism. America has a very noticeable problem with sexism. We don't see a lot of women leaders in America. We just don't. A part of that is because if it's a position where they have to be voted on or elected to or appointed to, chances are there are a lot of men that are making that decision. And you rarely, if ever, see men, black or white, Puerto Rican, Asian, whatever, elevating women. We just don't. It's weird if you ask me, because we all come from women. And I'm never gonna be forever on the side of women. I'm a forever man side, you know. Ask all my homegirls will tell you I am forever on the side of the man. Unless he on some BS. Then I gotta call you on some BS, because I don't support BS. I don't support garbage, I don't support effery. But I'm gonna forever be on the side of men. But with this, it's just it's very evident that They didn't want the white women. They didn't want the black women. And we actually seen a decrease in voter output at this last election. Trump likes to say, "Oh, I won the landslide," and this, that, and other. But the reality is that Trump won this election with less votes than he won the other election. That bigger. Let me pull up my comments real quick. Chat. That bigger than racism between the different races. Honestly, I don't know which one is bigger. I don't. Both are big problems in the United States of America. Both don't have easy, quick fixes. um, and granted, I'm not gonna call myself a worldly man because I'm not a worldly traveler, but I pay attention to the world news. I watch BBC and Al Jazeera and some of the other news stations that I get access to from my Fire Sticks. I don't think Fire Sticks, Fire Stick Shawty over here. But because of that, I get access to world news, Jamaica news. I can even watch Cuban news. I don't even understand Spanish, but when I watch the world news, the first thing I notice, oh, the world news be talking smack about the United States of America. Oh, they talk about us so bad, like we some country bumpkins, just dummies. So it's always interesting to see the international perspective when they're talking about U.S. stories. But the other thing I noticed that when I'm watching international news is that some of the same things we have going on here are going on in other countries. There's a big racism problem in the UK, in England, over there in Europe. The Africans, the Arabs, the anybody that wasn't born there are catching it. They catching it over there. And it's not talked about a lot over here in our news stations because we got a lot of messed up stuff going on here. But when when you're dialed in on the international news scene, you notice that stuff. So the world is jacked up. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon, unfortunately. But we need to get to a place where a lot. We need to get to a place where people can learn to coexist with one another peacefully and in good fashion, in good nature. The wars that we have going on, the wars that we've had going on throughout history, a lot of them have left the world and those nations more divided than anything. A lot of the wars that we're seeing going on now is going to leave even more division. One thing that's not talked about, and it's the main reason that Russia wants Ukraine, is that Ukraine produces a big chunk of the world's grain supply. If you don't watch international news, you don't know that type of stuff. But Ukraine produces a bunch of the world's grain supply. Russia takes over Ukraine. Who does the world have to now bargain with at the table that was once frozen out of the world economy? Russia. So that's why Russia's not giving up on this lightly. Russia's tired of being frozen out of the world economy and not having any chips at the table. They want to play cards. Um, what'll happen with that? I haven't the slightest clue. I just seriously hope that cooler heads prevail and the situation resolves itself expeditiously. Ukraine wants peace. I think Trump's tired of dealing with the situation now. He's being called out by, his advisors and people on the right and the left by saying, hey, you said you could stop this war in one day. You ain't doing nothing. Now it's getting war. Now Trump is getting tired of dealing with it. Ukraine's tired. Putin's, he's still on. He's going hard. He's not going to give up. He's not going to give up. But you're right. At the end of the day, Ukraine and Russia both are losers in this because the Ukrainian people have gone through, I think is what, 3-4 years now they've been fighting. That is insane. That is freaking insane to live in a war zone for multiple years at that. When we think about war or conflict, we think about it being like over like that, maybe a month or so. They have been fighting for years, at least 3 or 4 years. I don't know the exact number in my head. I know somebody's gonna drop it in the comments, like, hey, you said this and it was actually this, but they've been fighting for longer than I actually care to even acknowledge. that's a shame. And just getting back to the point, Trump said he was going to end it, and he didn't. Now he's getting pressure from it. So now everybody wants this war to end. Speaking of ending, let's get back to the United States. TPS, temporary protected status for Venezuelans, have been ended in the United States of America. The U.S. Supreme Court had taken up the case to review whether or not Trump had the right or it should be ended, and they came back and said, "Hey, go ahead and send it home." Now, if you know or are familiar with the Latin American community pre-election, you've seen a lot of them in support of Trump, even in the face of Trump saying he was going to deport a bunch of individuals from Latin American countries. There was a prevailing thought in the Latin American community that if you are not breaking the law or doing any crimes, Trump is not talking about you. He is not going to send you back. They are in FAFO mode right now. It's the a-hole in me wants to laugh in their face. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Because if a person tells you that they're going to deport people from Spanish-speaking countries, people that are not from America, people that had to immigrate over here, and you put it in your head that, well, he ain't talking about me. He talking about them criminals. I ain't doing no crime. He talking about me. He talking about me. We got to stop lying to ourselves, because that's what the Latin American community did. When I chop this up, I'm gonna go get the CBS Miami footage of all the Venezuelans in Miami that were crying and saying they had been lied to. They had said people had came into the Venezuelan and Spanish speaking communities and told them, hey, if you're not breaking any laws, you're all right. And now they are being deported. 500,000 Venezuelans are now shook. They're scared right now because they don't know when the deportations are going to start. Some of them are actually going through the immigration and nationalization process to become citizens. They don't know if they should go to their next appointment because they could be arrested and deported like so many others. Because one thing that Trump has not done is go after the criminals. Most of these deportations, 90% of them that we're seeing, are people that were going through the process or people that were arrested at INS offices going in to check in with their officer to try and say, hey, I'm still doing this, I'm doing that. That's who are being deported right now. Now, in that, undoubtedly some criminals. But the bulk of people that are being deported are people that were on TPS and were going to check in, people that are going through the process to become citizens, and they don't even know whether this should go in now to check to continue the process. We actually just had the first round of self-deportation flights happen earlier this week. Well, yesterday. Yesterday it flew out. Ironically, I think I actually one of my neighbors in the other neighborhood, he was having a yard sale. Chico dude. I go over there because I'm addicted to tools. I'm a 40-year-old man. I got an addiction to tools and power tools now. So I'm going, hey, let me check out the yard sale and see what they got. Chico dude just basically giving everything away because they're leaving. He was a carpenter. Like, but all of his tools, not carpenter, he was a flooring guy. So all of his tools were flooring stuff. I'm like, this guy he's a tradesman. This guy actually is contributing to the economy, contributing to the way of life. And he about to leave. Wow. And the sad part about these deportations is that a lot of the tradesmen that have been building so many things in America are leaving. And when you look at the trade industry now, it's lacking. So much so that women are jumping into trades to fill the gap. We had women, you thought it was something when women jumped in the trucks and started driving trucks. Wait till you pull up to O'Reilly's or AutoZone and there's a woman behind the counter. Wait till you go to Nissan or Cadillac to get an oil change and it's a woman doing your oil change. Now, I'm all for women in the trades. I have nothing against it. But we have to recognize how we got to the point where there are more women joining trades is because there are less men in them. I can't wait to get on Patreon and crash out. I can't cuss on here. I'm trying not to cuss, y'all. That Patreon episode is gonna be lit. All right. But we've seen so many men go away from the trades for whatever reasons. And the immigrants filled in the gap. I can't cuss quiet yet. I ain't got a following like that, man. I really, man, listen. I want to cuss. I let it fly, but I leave it on the Patreon episodes. I'm trying to, and plus I've been shadow banned a couple different times. This ain't my first rodeo with this content stuff. I've been shadow banned a couple different times, so I'm trying to keep it PG for the most part. But we've seen a lot of men shy away from the trades and women are taking the place. But before the women started taking the place, it was the immigrants that was taking the place. And from being a former instructor at a trade school here in South Florida, I could tell you for a fact, we had a lot of individuals that did not speak a lick of English enrolled, learning trades and English at the same time, and getting GEDs because I helped them. So we're not talking about immigrants that are just coming over here, just moving off the system. We're talking about immigrants that are producing and helping us grow this economy that are being deported. All right, so we touched on some of the news stories that I wanted to get out of the way. I think some of the highlights I wanted to highlight. I wanted to talk about a something that's going on in the United States. Two things. The notion of the greater good. We're seeing so much individualism in the United States of America that the notion of the greater good is no longer there. And what I mean by the notion of the greater good is that meaning that you're going to perform an action that while it may not be immediately beneficial to you, that action that you're performing is going to be beneficial to other individuals. Maybe, your daughter, your son, your father, your mother, your community, your kids, somebody is going to be beneficial too. But because we've gotten to a point in America where individualism champions everything, the greater good is no longer there. And when you had communities that were basically built up off of that, it creates a recipe for disaster. The Black community in itself was built off the nation of the greater good. We had people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Huey Newton, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Individuals that held tight to the notion of the greater good and they perform actions that, while it may not have been beneficial to them in the moment, they knew by performing those actions, they were setting the stage to make it better and easier for Black people that came behind them. And we're not seeing that anymore. But what we are seeing is Black people that will sell themselves out for $1. Seeing Black people that will say, hey, just for a seat at the table, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll say it. I'll do it. I'll whatever. And that is hurting us. We've seen Byron Donalds, for example, a black man from the state of Florida, get out on the campaign stage for Trump and campaign all over the United States of America for Trump, just so that Trump can endorse him for governor, so he can try and get the governor's race in Florida. This is the same man that sat in front of a group of white people and told them that Black America was better under Jim Crow. Say that again. Byron Donalds is pushing the narrative that Black America was better under Jim Crow racism and slavery. This is the danger that we're experiencing today, where Black individuals will allow themselves to be used for their own personal, they'll benefit personally, but it will be a detriment to the community as a whole. Because while Byron Donalds got some credit and, white people like, yeah, see, hey, you want you on our side. People like him that are messing us up. Yes, they're selling us out. And there's this extreme sense of individualism in the Black community that has been, you know what? I don't even know where it comes from. I was gonna say it feels like a remnant of slavery, but it's not, because we had unity post-slavery. We had unity post-civil rights. What has shifted is technology. What has shifted is we've gotten away from the village, the mindset of it takes a village to raise a child. We got away from community as a whole. We got away from family. That may be the biggest part. We have gotten away from family. Many different reasons that the community and family has splintered, whether it be infighting, whether it be not wanting to, hold somebody in that village accountable for their flawed or messed up actions. There are many reasons why the community is no longer the community. But we have to get back to that greater good. Have to get back to it. And we have to stop allowing individuals in our community to have a say-so for us when they are not being genuine. And we also have to hold those people accountable, because what I see too many times is that Black people will turn a blind eye to somebody doing BS just because they know them. Oh, that's my friend, that's my homeboy, that's my homegirl. Oh, I know them. That's my coworker. Oh, they have good in them. I had a person tell me that this weekend. We're having a conversation. I'll point something out about an individual, and they're like, "Yeah, but I feel like they got some good in them, though." I was like, "Where?" They've shown you their true colors. They've shown you what's in them. They've shown you what they're about. What you're seeing, what you're looking at, is that image that you have in your head of that individual, instead of looking at the reality of what is going on in front of you. And that's what we have so many times in the Black community. People will, oh, I know them. Hey, we do it all the time. Do it all the time. So we have to get rid of that narrative. I don't want to tear down another Black man or Black woman in public. Accountability is accountability. No ifs, ands, or shades about it. Because what we have to understand as Black community is that the powers that be has weaponized familiarity. They will take somebody that you are familiar with They will take somebody that looks like you, that thinks like you, that acts like you, and get them to do a whole lot of BS and garbage in front of your face. And the whole time you're gonna be sitting there with a moral conflict, like, dang, man, I don't rock with that. I don't rock with them actions, but man, I know dude a good dude, man. She a good woman, man. She, man, you know what, man, it'll be, I'm a, man, whatever, man. I ain't gonna pay no attention. I know I know them. No, you are, when I played sports, I was told you're only good as your last play. Meaning, forget the sack that you had in the first quarter. Because it's the fourth quarter. And we down. And they got the ball. You only good as your last play. And if your last play says some foolishness, then that's what you are. Some foolishness. But yeah, just wanted to come to y'all guys and show you real quick 30-minute show. I know I'm a little bit over the 6 minutes. All right, my goal was to have 30-minute nightly show to do this every night around 8 o'clock. Bring you guys the news stories that have come, across my feed that are interesting, and just give you guys a little bit more in-depth knowledge on it. As I alluded to earlier, Patreon is where all it goes down. Join my Patreon, Politics and Pop Culture. Patreon is free right now. I don't anticipate putting a charge to my Patreon until I have at least 1,000 members. I got 1,000 free members, then I want to put it at probably like $2 or $3. But Patreon is free. I don't anticipate putting a charge on my Patreon for the foreseeable future unless I go viral and that 1,000 member threshold is reached. But I don't plan on ever, like, in my planning for all of this, I actually have a cap on the amount that I would ever put on Patreon, just because I want more people to get the information than me making money off of it. I work. I work for the government. I work for a living. I don't make content for money. I make content to help individuals understand what's going on in the world. I make content to help the people of Florida understand what's going on in Florida. I make content to help Black people understand what's going on in the world. And I make content for the people. I don't make content to make money. I work to make money. And like I said, I work 40 hours a week, and I got some hustles, and I got businesses I've started. So this is not for the money. This is for the people. This is for anybody that wants that information. So that's why I say I have a number in my head. Like, I'm forget how I said $10. That's the highest I'll ever go on my Patreon. And really I said 8, but I said just 10 just because it was, I don't know, $10, because 10,000, you get that. But I was like, not gonna do this to monetize. Even if it's monetization, I'm involved with community service projects. I almost like to end up putting that money back in the community one way or another, or spending it on my child. one way or another is not gonna go in my pocket. I can tell you that right now. So that's the news for the day. As just a quick rundown. Biden got cancer, and I feel like he was lying. He was supposed to get reelected and just slided on to Kamala. U.S. credit rating got downgraded. TPS ended for 500,000 Venezuelans. So if you're Venezuelan or know somebody that's Venezuelan, tell them to walk lightly and always carry their. Just don't come out of the house. Just don't come out of the house for right now, because it's hot in the streets for Venezuelans. I don't even know what to say about that. May 19th was Malcolm X's 100th birthday. And as always, like, comment, share. Let me know if I'm tripping. If you guys got something that you want me to elaborate on, DM it to me, email it to me, text me, call us, however you get to me. The the Weekend Gaming. Shout out to you for participating. I thank you for riding out rocking strong with me. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything, all your comments. Peace. Love you guys.